suffered pain, your spirit soars and sings. Though sorrow clouds your day, it's sunny skies tomorrow brings. And come, take my hand, let's be friends forever. And come, take my hand, alone no more, not ever. Imagine dreams are real, and soon you'll start to feel there's magic all around. And come, take my hand, love is all It must be months since I had such a good night's rest. I feel so wonderful this morning. And now I have 3 months of holiday ahead of me before I go to college. 3 wonderful months. Life is wonderful altogether. Oh, yes, now I'm back home where I belong.
Anne! Breakfast is ready.
I don't believe it. Is it that late already? Good morning, everyone. I'm terribly sorry I overslept, Marilla.
After what you've been through, it's quite normal to catch up on your sleep. Sit down and tuck in, my child.
Thanks. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. Actually, you should have stayed in bed much longer, Anne. I said as much to Marilla. I told her not to wake you up too early this morning.
Don't believe a word of it. He's been wasting time waiting for you to come down so that he could have breakfast with you.
Who, me? Waste time? No, it was you. You took the kettle off 3 times, Marilla.
Well, I'm glad I'm up now.
Anne, let me introduce Martin to you. He's been working at Green Gables for a month now.
Please excuse me for eating before everyone else, but I have to get going. There's a lot to do.
I'm so sorry I was late.
Don't worry. Well, I'll see you later.
Start without me. I'll be along in a minute.
We were lucky to find Martin. Very lucky indeed. He's experienced, a hard worker, and he's been a tremendous help.
Yes, it was lucky you found him.
And he's very polite, which is uncommon.
I just couldn't take Jerry's table manners any longer. Come on, eat up, my child. You must be very hungry.
Oh, yes, very much, Marilla. That's enough. I'm full now. Nobody makes lovely hot pancakes like you do. You should taste the revolting ones they dish up at college.
No, thank you very much.
Pity I have to go, but there it is.
Now, don't forget to take it easy. Don't overdo it, Matthew.
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Matthew, are you listening?
Yes, of course I am.
Marilla, Matthew's not looking very well. He hasn't had another heart attack, has he?
No, thank the Lord. But Matthew's getting on in years now, and it shows every day. Listen, do you remember that day you came home to visit us?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was just before his latest heart attack. I thought it was the last we'd ever see of him, but he actually recovered from it.
That bad?
He's supposed to take it easy at work, but he won't pay attention. He believes the farm can't run without him. even though Martin can do the job with ease. And Martin himself says Matthew isn't looking good, and that's a danger sign. But perhaps he'll slow down now that you're at Green Gables, Anne. At least he listens to you. He'll take it to heart if you lay down the law.
Good, so much for Matthew. But what about you? You look tired and miserable to me, Marilla.
I'm looking tired and miserable. It must be my age. The years are taking their toll. Work doesn't worry me one little bit. It's my eyes. And I can't stand the perpetual headaches. This never-ending pain behind my eyes, it really drives me mad. Dr. Spencer's got it all wrong, I think. The lenses he prescribed for me are hopeless. I can't believe they're correct. I simply can't. It seems a new optician is coming to visit the island at the end of the month. Dr. Spencer advised me to go and see him because he's already tried everything he could think of.
Yes. You must see that optician, Marilla.
Oh, it's no earthly use, is it? When you can only read with difficulty and sewing hurts your eyes.
It's awful, I agree. But I'm here for 3 whole months now, and I'll be lending you a hand from now on. So you can get a bit of a rest. I only need 1 day for myself. Just 1 day at the beginning. I want to visit my friends in Avonlea. All the people I'd like to see again.
And there's something I'd like to say. I'm incredibly proud of you, my child. Do you remember, my dear, when you got here, you could barely write, but it didn't take very long before you were the best pupil in the whole school. And now you've done so well at college. I saw Rachel Lindy the other day, and she still believes that's all nonsense. Although she may be one of the brightest women in Avonlea, she's still opposed to the idea of girls going on to higher education.
Ah, Rachel Lindy? Did she tell you that to your face?
She told me that right to my face, although she knows perfectly well I don't agree with her philosophy at all. When I told her so, she was taken aback. You should have seen the expression on her face. And you have a scholarship, but if anything goes wrong, please don't worry. We have some money saved and we'll gladly help you financially if the need arises. As long as we have the money, we'll help you finish.
Good morning,
Why,
Marilla.
Rachel, good morning. Has one of your chickens been run down?
A chicken?
Morning, Mrs. Lindy.
Oh, Anne, how nice. Marilla, is Matthew at home?
No, of course not. He's out in the fields. What's the matter, Rachel?
Haven't you heard? Marilla, the rumour that's been going around turns out to be absolutely true. The Abbey Bank's got to close down.
No, just hold on, Rachel. Anne, go and fetch Matthew.
Yes, Marilla.
And don't say a word about this.
Yes, Marilla.
Please, Matthew, calm down. There's no point in getting yourself worked up. I just think it's high time to get our money out of that bank. I've told you this before, haven't I?
I'm sorry to tell you this, but my husband heard the bad news when he was in town this morning. The next few weeks will be make or break for the bank, I'm afraid. Apparently, the bank couldn't produce enough money when a certain company wanted to withdraw a large amount to pay its workers. My husband says there's been a run on the bank all day long. In town, they're saying it's only a matter of time before the bank goes insolvent and closes its doors.
Insolvent? Are you serious?
I don't know what's going to happen, but if the bank closes, it'll be a catastrophe. As far as I know, you've got all your savings in that bank. Isn't that right, Marilla?
What do we do now, Matthew? Don't you think it'd be a good idea to take all our savings out of Abbey Bank right now, as Rachel suggests, every last penny?
I don't know. Is that the right thing to do? You know, yesterday in Blair's store, they were saying the whole thing was just a rumor somebody made up. And besides, I know Mr. Abbey is very honorable.
Matthew, the Honourable Mr. Abbey you're talking about was actually an old friend of your father's, wasn't he? But times have changed, and old Mr. Abbey's nephew owns the bank now. You should be aware of that. And the nephew's made one mistake after another, don't you know that?
Anne, have you heard any rumours about the bank going around at the college?
Yes, Marilla. Miss Josephine Barry mentioned something about the bank, but I can't remember the details.
Don't be silly. I won't hold it against you if you choose not to believe these rumours, Matthew, but you should at least look into them. Let's go to the bank together. One thing's perfectly clear. You can't sit around and do nothing.
Yes, I agree. Listen to Rachel, Matthew. She's right. Please take her warning seriously for all our sakes.
Yes, well, all right. I don't agree with you, but if it puts your mind at ease, I'll take a drive down to the local branch at Avonlea and have a long talk to Mr. Russell, the manager. If anyone can tell me the truth, it'll certainly be him.
Matthew, listen, if you get the slightest feeling that something's gone wrong at that bank, please withdraw every last penny. Promise me you'll do that.
Yes, yes, I promise.
Oh, what an honor, Matthew Cuthbert, and to what do I owe the pleasure? We haven't seen each other for a long time.
That's quite right. I've come here to ask you about the Abbey Bank, actually.
Aha! I'm very surprised that Mr. Cuthbert actually listens to rumors.
No, I just wanted to ask you...
Please take a seat.
No thanks, Mr. Russell.
As you please, Matthew Cuthbert. Now let me tell you the whole truth of the matter. The Abbey Bank was in serious trouble. We had to write off some bad debt. It adversely affected our liquidity. It wasn't a good time at all, Matthew. But now we've managed to get over the worst. The big bank in Charlottetown has promised to give us their support, and it seems that Abbey Bank will soon be back in a sound position.
Are you quite sure? A great deal depends on the Abbey Bank for all of us.
There's no point in telling you a falsehood. All my personal assets are in the Abbey Bank.
Thank heavens for that. I'm very glad to hear you say it, because you know, Mr. Russell, the way people are talking about the bank doesn't sound promising at all. For example, they're
Do you
saying
mean the gossip that our bank will be declared bankrupt tomorrow?
Yes, that's what I mean. The whole town can talk of little else.
Why, Matthew Cuthbert, I hope you don't fall for old wives' tales like that one. Those stories always make mountains out of molehills. Avonlea is such a small place that rumours spread like wildfire. I actually think that story was started on purpose, because a new bank intends to put up a branch here, Matthew, and they'd like to see the Abbey Bank fail so they'd have no competition. And, of course, a long-standing, well-established financial institution such as our dear old bank would offer them stiff competition, wouldn't it? Do you want to withdraw all your money? Have you lost faith in us?
I don't want to do that. It's just that my sister was worried about the gossip and sent me to find out the truth.
That was sensible. Oh, by the way, I heard all the good news about that young girl you took in. Apparently, she won the Avery Scholarship to attend Redmond College. That's a tremendous achievement. Actually, you must be extremely proud of her.
Yes, Anne is our pride and joy, and she's a hard worker and she's bright. Yes, extremely bright, to tell the truth. And on top of it all, she's a lovely child into the bargain with a good heart.
You really are extremely fond of your Anne, aren't you? She's a very lucky girl. But seriously, Mr. Cuthbert, you don't have to worry about your money. The Abbey Bank is safe as houses.
Thanks. That's what I thought. I was never really in doubt, but I'm glad I decided to come and see you anyway. Thank you for taking the time to explain it to me.
It was my pleasure, Mr. Cuthbert. Don't wait so long next time.
So that's how it is. False rumours, competition, empty gossip. I don't know what to believe anymore, Matthew. Can we trust Russell? You could have compromised and taken half the money out, you know. I wish you'd done that in the first place.
You've been listening to gossip, Marilla. Mr. Russell explained the situation at Abbey Bank to me openly and honestly. I believe him. He knows more about banking than Rachel Lindy does.
Oh, I hope you're right, because if you're wrong, we're headed for a real catastrophe. I suppose we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yes, good idea. Let's do just that. Wait and see. Well, I'd better get back to work.
But, Matthew, please don't overdo it.
See you later, my dears.
Take care.
Of course.
Will it turn out all right, Marilla?
Yes, I'm sure it will. No, Anne, I must be honest with you. I don't know. Perhaps what Matthew said is right. Maybe the bank is out of trouble, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's no point in getting ourselves into a state over it.
Really? Matthew's a very cautious man, isn't he?
Don't you want to spend the first day of your holidays visiting all your favourite places, Anne? Places like the wood and the spring, they're out there waiting for you.
Yes, but I want to do the dishes first. Then I'll be off if you don't mind my leaving you on your own.
Of course not. You go. You're on holiday, Anne.
The sun plants kisses on the trees below. The birds fluff out their feathers and sing their early morning
nice of you to drop in, Anne. Now I can congratulate you on winning the big scholarship. My husband and I were overjoyed to hear you'd done so well in the final exam at Queen's. We went to church and gave thanks to God, and then we said a prayer for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen. I'm so glad to hear it.
Redmond College has an excellent reputation, but you're well aware of that. You've got a great future ahead of you. Graduates of Redmond College are very much in demand, Anne. I'm sure Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert are very proud of you indeed.
Yes. Matthew was always convinced I'd get the Avery scholarship.
But, Anne?
But when I came home yesterday, I noticed how Matthew and Marilla are really beginning to show their age. Neither of them is in good health, and I don't like the idea of leaving them on their own for 4 years while I'm studying at Redmond College. I can't help feeling I ought to stay at Green Gables so I can help them a little with their work.
So that's it. That's what's bothering you. Of course they're getting older, Anne. It happens to all of us. It struck you forcefully because you haven't seen them for a while. Tell me the truth. Have you decided not to go to Redmond and you don't know how to break the news to them?
What? Oh, no, I haven't made my decision yet.
That's fine, Anne. Your conscience is making you think along these lines. You feel responsible for Marilla and Matthew. It would be unnatural if you didn't feel that way. Of course, it would be much easier to go off into the future with nothing to worry about.
Yes, that's very true. Worries are painful.
Yes, they are, but your best option is to take a degree at Redmond College, even if it hurts. This scholarship could turn all your dreams into reality, my dear Anne. Since I've known you, you've always wanted to be a teacher. Now you have your chance, and you must take it. If you suddenly abandon your plan to go to Redmond, Matthew and Marilla might be pleased, but then again they might not.
Yes, that's possible.
And Shirley, you can't change the course of your life on the spur of the moment just because it might be painful. Feeling responsible is perfectly fine, but you should also feel responsible for yourself, you know. Anne, you're an exceptionally intelligent girl. You simply can't neglect such a wonderful talent. You must realize your intelligence is a responsibility, and you can't throw one of God's gifts away just like that. I can understand why you're wavering. It shows what a considerate, decent girl you are. If you were all excited about the scholarship and rushed off to Redmond without a thought for Matthew and Marilla, I'd be disappointed in you. But you know, unfortunately, no one will be able to make that decision for you. I'm afraid you're the only person who can make it, Anne. And I can't make the choice for you either. You're all on your own this time, and you're not a baby anymore. Only you'll know what to do.
Yes, that's very clear to me. I know what I want, but my heart gets in the way. All the same, it did me a lot of good to discuss it with you. Thank you, Mrs. Allen.
Why don't you help yourself? Don't you like cake?
Of course.
Well, how are the holidays?
Wonderful, actually.
Just look over there. That's your calf, Dolly. At the moment, she's a real hooligan. She always wants her own way, the stubborn thing.
Calves grow up quickly. She'll soon settle down.
Yes, just like you, Anne. You also grew up quickly, too quickly.
Do you think so? Matthew, I went everywhere today and renewed all my old memories. I even went right into the Avonlea schoolhouse and sat at my old school desk. Today was my day off. I'll start work tomorrow.
That's out of the question. I want you to have a good rest.
No. Now it's your turn to take it easy. You've been working without my help all these years. Matthew, you've been working too hard and it shows. You look tired. You should slow down now. Martin could take over a lot of your work, couldn't he?
Well, maybe. I always tend to forget I'm getting older every day. I spent my whole life working in the open air. I can't stop just like that. If I couldn't work, what should I do with myself all day? Sit on the sofa, smoke my pipe until the sun sets. Once a worker, always a worker, my dear Anne.
You wanted to take a boy originally, and then I came along by mistake. If I'd been a boy, then I could have helped you, and you wouldn't have had to work so hard, Matthew. I often think about that, and then I think it's a great pity I wasn't a boy. I've made life very difficult for you.
Absolute nonsense. Shall I tell you something, Anne? I reckon you're 1,000 times better than any boy, and I wouldn't dream of swapping you for 100 farm workers. After all, don't you ever forget it was a girl who won the Avery Scholarship. My own little girl. And I'm ever so proud of my girl because she belongs to the family along with me and Marilla. Yes, my little girl. Anne Shirley of Green Gables. You're my daughter, Anne, and I'm so proud of you.
Matthew!
My little daughter, Anne Shirley.
Matthew!
That night, Anne stayed awake for a long time. She looked out into the night as she thought about Matthew, Marilla, and what Mrs. Allen had told her. Over and over again, she asked herself if it would be the right thing to leave Matthew and Marilla on their own, but she could not find the answer to her question. Then the next day, Anne's life would change forever. Green Gables was about to become the scene of a tragedy, but that sad story is for our next episode.
Soft whispers on the breeze, the wood nymphs in the trees are calling out your name. They offer you their gifts, sweet fragrance fills the air. The magic of a moonlit night, and nightingale's song to share.